And then in a relation, you can have things that wouldn't happen if they weren't. So things that are surprises can be numerous. The only notion of notwithstanding is if you're an inanimate object. And then you can get taken advantage. Having something appear that shouldn't, like a charge, you will be forced to have to make a bad decision because you are being put into a location for a certain amount of time that is against your own discretion. And inanimate objects don't have that problem because they can't even think. When you're allocating the symmetry, you can have it in a good way or a bad direction, and they're both over time, so it will explain if it was good or bad for the amount of time it took, because people always say that time is money.
You guys live in Hong Kong?
Great. I live in good. There's the things that are bigger and smaller, like if a person's carrying a small dog and they're a large human, then it's looking kind of interesting. But if someone is bigger and they're carrying a small human, it would be like a human carrying a hobbit or a fairy. And I'm starting to get scared to talk because I could hurt people's feelings, and people's feelings are so vulnerable when they're not given like a correct standpoint, because then everything is whimsical. And so when I'm using the words palatable and tasteful, it's infinitely important to know that if something isn't palatable, it could be dangerous. Whereas if something isn't tasteful, well, it could just be with less credit. And these are aside from things that are palatable and tasteful. You might think they're the same, but they're completely different. Palatable means that it could make you sick to your stomach. Different things are orientations of degrees of knowledge. A learner's permit. This would suggest that you have an ability to know a certain thing of the road. But it varies from state and also with time. They were not too used to time variations, but lo and behold, in the 80s you could drink at like age 16 and crash your car and everything would be fine if your name was George Bush. When the learner's permit for other things can apply too, such as CDL licensing, where you can get like knowledge of the road from bigger things like a bigger vehicle.